In September 1780, an American general handed a British spy a set of secret documents, maps, troop numbers, the exact weaknesses of the most important fort in the colonies. This wasn't a low-ranking soldier looking for a payday. This was one of the most celebrated commanders in the entire war, a man George Washington personally trusted, a man whose battlefield courage had already become legend among his own troops. He wasn't selling secrets to save his life. He wasn't threatened, tortured, or blackmailed. He did it for money and for revenge. By the time the war ended, his name would replace an entire word in the American vocabulary. To this day, if you call someone a Benedict Arnold, you don't need to explain what you mean. Before the betrayal, Benedict Arnold was, by nearly every account, one of the finest battlefield commanders America had. He led the brutal, near-impossible march through the Maine wilderness to attack Quebec in 1775, a campaign so punishing that soldiers boiled their own shoe leather to survive starvation. He was wounded in that same leg twice over the course of the war, refusing to leave command, even while bleeding. At the Battle of Saratoga in 1777, arguably the turning point of the entire war, Arnold personally led the charge that broke British lines, again taking a bullet to the same leg that never fully healed. Historians still argue that without Arnold's aggression on that battlefield, the American victory at Saratoga might not have happened at all. And yet, while his legend grew among the soldiers who fought beside him, something else was growing too: resentment. Arnold was passed over for promotion multiple times in favor of officers with less battlefield experience, but better political connections in Congress. He was accused, and later cleared, of financial misconduct, but the accusations followed him, damaging his reputation regardless of the verdict. He watched men he considered lesser soldiers rise above him in rank, while his own body carried the physical cost of the war that others got credit for. By 1779, married to a young, loyalist, sympathizing wife in occupied Philadelphia, and drowning in debt from a lifestyle he couldn't afford, Arnold had stopped seeing himself as a man owed nothing. He'd started seeing himself as a man owed everything. In May 1779, Arnold made first contact. Using coded letters and the help of his wife's social connections to British officers, Arnold began secretly communicating with British Major John André, offering at first small pieces of intelligence in exchange for money. But Arnold wanted more than a payday. He wanted a target valuable enough to change the entire course of the war, and to make himself rich enough to disappear from the debts and slights that had humiliated him for years. That target became West Point. West Point wasn't just another fort. It sat on the Hudson River, at the single most strategically critical choke point in the colonies. Control it, and you could cut New England off from the rest of the rebellion entirely. Washington himself considered it perhaps the most important defensive position in the entire war. In August 1780, Arnold used his standing and reputation to request command of West Point directly from Washington. Washington, who trusted Arnold completely and had no reason not to, granted it without hesitation. Arnold now controlled the fortress the British needed most, and he began quietly weakening it from the inside, delaying repairs, reducing supplies, positioning weaknesses exactly where a coordinated attack could exploit them. On September 21st, 1780, Arnold met secretly with Major Andre under cover of night to finalize the deal. Detailed maps of West Point's defenses, troop deployment numbers, and a plan for British forces to seize the fort in exchange for a British officer's commission and roughly the modern equivalent of hundreds of thousands of dollars. Then, disaster, or justice, depending on how you look at it. On his return journey, Andre was stopped by 3 American militiamen. Hidden in his boot, they found the documents, Arnold's handwriting, the full plans for West Point's fall, everything. Word reached Arnold just minutes before Washington himself arrived to inspect the fort as planned. Arnold had one narrow window to escape before his own commander, the man who trusted him more than almost anyone in the army, walked in to discover the truth. He made it. Barely. Fleeing down the Hudson on a British ship, as Washington arrived to find the fortress abandoned by its commander and the conspiracy unraveling in real time. Major Andre was tried as a spy and hanged. He was, by most historical accounts, treated with more sympathy by American officers than Arnold ever would be. His composure at trial and execution earning a strange, tragic respect even from his captors. Arnold, meanwhile, got exactly what he'd bargained for, a British officer's commission and payment, but never the standing he craved. British officers who had once negotiated with him now largely distrusted him as a man who'd betray anyone for the right price. American colonists, understandably, considered him beyond redemption. He spent the rest of his life straddling 2 sides that both, in their own way, despised what he'd done. He died in London in 1801, reportedly still wearing his old American Continental Army uniform in his final days, a detail historians still debate the meaning of. Some say it was regret. Others say it was vanity, a final performance of the hero he still believed himself to be. What makes Arnold's betrayal so unsettling isn't that a nobody turned on his country for money. It's that a genuine hero did, a man with the battle scars to prove his courage, who decided that recognition and money mattered more than the cause he'd nearly died for twice. 2 centuries later, his name still carries the weight of that choice. Not traitor, not spy, just a Benedict Arnold. And everyone still knows exactly what that means.